first phase of the encounter is the hardest one. The aim of the phase is to destroy the hit regulators and enter phase 2 with as little heat as possible. Bellow operators have two abilities. The first one is a cleave, so tanks need to phase them away from raid members, and the second ability is loading, which increases the hit levels faster. This ad has top priority as long as it can use this ability, but after its health reaches 50%, they will stop using loading. At that point, DPSers need to switch to engineers and security guards. Engineers need to be mind controlled to take advantage of the droplet bomb so you can kill the hit regulators faster. A warlock or a priest is assigned to click on the droplet bombs and detonate them all. Players who are targeted by bomb or who pick up droplet bombs will have 8 seconds to move to their assigned hit regulator and detonate. The engineer has one more ability. This ability is called Repair, and it has the power to heal the hit regulator. If this happens and the engineer is not interrupted, it can cause a wipe. Master Feldspard is a mini-boss that is present at the start of the encounter. He uses 3 abilities against your raid. The first is Hot-Blooded, which is a fire damage aura which deals minimum amount of damage. Then it's Pyroclasm, an ability that needs to be interrupted. And finally, the most important ability of all, Rupture. When one of you gets Rupture, you need to move away and place it close to a wall. You must be very careful where you place Rupture, since the pool created by it persists for the duration of the fight. Another mechanic that you should be aware of is the hit mechanic. As you can see, the more hit the boss has, the more frequent his blast ability becomes. Make sure your hit levels are not higher than 30 when you enter phase 2. Once the hit regulators are destroyed, phase 2 will commence. In this phase, you need to kill the 4 primal elementalists that are trapping Heart of the Mountain so you can move to the final part of the fight. Slug elementals are almost harmless. They fixate on a player and attack him for mild amounts of damage. If their health reaches 0, they explode. Their explosion has the ability to break Primal Elementalist's shield, but it can also harm the people who are standing close to them when they die. Primal Elementalists have 2 basic abilities. The first one is Damage Shield, which makes them immune to damage. To break the shield, you need to mind control the security guard and use its ability on a slug elemental. Once this is done, the elemental needs to be DPS down and brought close to the elementalist. The ad will explode and it will destroy the damage shield. Afterwards, DPSers will need to bring his health down to 0. Once damaged, the ad will use a buff on himself called Reactive Shield. Once the buff is used, you have 8 seconds to dispel it. If not, the elementalist will be healed for a reasonable amount, and this will probably cause a wipe. Fire Callers are dangerous ads that need to be moved in melee and cleave down. These ads have 2 main abilities, one of which is a heal which needs to be interrupted. The other ability is a debuff called Volatile Fire. Players that are afflicted by this debuff need to move 8 yards away from everybody else, because after 8 seconds they will explode, dealing damage to everyone who is around them. There is a chance that the player will receive 2 Volatile Fire debuffs. If this is the case, survival CDs need to be used, or the afflicted player will probably die. This debuff is the main culprit of deaths and raid wipes in this phase, so try to be extra careful with it. last phase is quite easy. There are three things you need to do. First, stay out of the raid if you are fixated by a slug elemental. Second, if you get melt debuff, make sure you leave it somewhere away from the raid, preferably close to a wall. This will save space for you since 50% of the melt pool will grow into the wall. If a player puts melt into the raid, the most probable scenario is a wipe. Kill the boss before your healers stay out of mana or your raid stays out of room. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment and subscribe to my channel.